Imagine a world where the most profound messages are delivered not through spoken words, but in the quiet moments between them. Think for a moment about the times in your life when you felt the most connected, the most at peace. Not when someone was speaking to you, but when there was stillness around you. That silence, my friends, was speaking volumes. You see, there is a language beyond words, a universal language of the soul that speaks through the quiet, the unnoticed, the stillness. In the hustle and bustle of our modern lives, we are constantly bombarded with noise. We fill the air with our thoughts, our words, our distractions, seeking to express ourselves, to be heard, to be validated. But in our efforts to be understood, we often forget that the most profound truths come when we are silent, when we allow the space between words to create the conditions for insight, understanding, and connection. Silence is not emptiness. It is the gateway to the infinite. It is the canvas upon which the masterpiece of your life is painted. The truth you seek is not always in the words you speak, but in the pauses, the moments of stillness that allow you to tune in to the whispers of your soul, to the wisdom of the universe. When we learn to embrace silence, we awaken to a deeper sense of self. We begin to understand that we are not just the voices we hear in our heads, but the quiet, the peace, the presence that lies beneath. This is where the power of intention resides. It is in the silence that we can align with the flow of life, that we can hear the guidance of our higher self. And yet, so many of us fear silence. We fear the emptiness, the discomfort, the void. But what if I told you that it is in that silence, in those moments of stillness, that you will find the answers you've been searching for? What if I told you that in that quiet, the universe is speaking directly to you, offering you wisdom, love, and clarity? When we talk about the power of presence, we are referring to something far deeper than simply being physically present in a room. It's a state of being where you are fully engaged with the moment, where your attention is not divided between the past, the future, or any other distractions. In our modern world, we are often conditioned to think that the more we do, the more we accomplish, the more we achieve. Yet, the truth is that real transformation and growth happen not through relentless doing, but through the deep art of simply being. Being present doesn't just mean occupying space or going through the motions of life. It means aligning yourself with the flow of the moment, tapping into an awareness that transcends the hustle, the worries, and the distractions that often cloud our minds. Presence is about truly experiencing what is happening right now without judgment, without the need to alter or manipulate it in any way. Consider for a moment the act of simply breathing. The breath is the most fundamental part of being alive, yet how often do we truly stop and pay attention to it? We breathe without awareness, and yet it sustains us. But when you shift your focus and become aware of each breath, how does that change your experience? You may notice the subtle sensations in your body, the rise and fall of your chest, the coolness of the air entering your nostrils. This simple act of paying attention to your breath brings you into the present moment. Suddenly, you are no longer lost in thought, no longer distracted by what's coming next or what's already been. You are here, fully, deeply, and completely. This is what true presence looks like. It is not something you achieve by force or effort. It is something you allow. The act of being present is the recognition that you are not the sum of your past experiences or your future expectations. You are here, in this moment, and this moment holds infinite possibilities. When you are present, you connect to the timelessness of life. You begin to realize that you are not just an observer of your experiences. You are a participant in them. Each moment is an opportunity to connect to something greater, to something that is always available to you, no matter where you are or what you are doing. To live in the present means to let go of the need to control. Control is a force of the ego, constantly attempting to impose itself on life. But presence comes from surrendering to the flow of life as it is. It means stepping away from the need to push, strive, and manipulate every situation into what you want it to be. Instead, presence is about acceptance. It's about allowing life to unfold as it will and trusting that everything that is happening right now is perfect, just as it is. When you embrace presence, you start to understand that life isn't something that happens to you. Life is something you co-create with the universe, with the energy that flows through everything. And when you're present, you tap into that energy. You become a channel for it. You are no longer an observer of your life. You are an active participant, and in that participation, you start to notice synchronicities, opportunities, and connections that you would have missed otherwise. Presence allows you to see the beauty in every moment, the lessons hidden in every experience, and the wisdom that is available to you at all times. The power of presence is especially evident in relationships. How often do we have conversations with others while our minds are elsewhere? We nod along, say the right words, but we're not truly listening. We're thinking about what we're going to say next, or what we need to do later. But when we are present with someone, when we give them our full attention, we create a space for connection. We open ourselves to truly hearing them, to understanding them. We communicate not just with our words, but with our energy, our presence. The connection is no longer superficial. It's deep, meaningful, and genuine. This same presence can be applied to every aspect of life. Whether you are working, interacting with others, or simply being by yourself. When you engage with life in a mindful, present way, you start to experience a deeper sense of fulfillment. The moments that may have once seemed mundane or insignificant begin to reveal their richness. The ordinary becomes extraordinary when you are fully immersed in it. This is where the power of presence truly lies, in its ability to turn the simple, everyday moments into profound experiences. However, the challenge for many of us is that we are so conditioned to be somewhere other than where we are. We're always thinking about the future, worrying about what's next, or reliving the past. We believe that if we just get through this moment, if we just achieve this next thing, then we'll be happy. But in this chase, we miss the magic of the moment. The truth is that the future is always just a projection, and the past is already gone. The only real moment you have is now, and if you're not present for it, you're missing the gift it has to offer. Presence also invites us to embrace our own uniqueness. When we are present, we allow ourselves to show up as we truly are, without the need to fit into a mold or live up to expectations. We stop trying to prove ourselves to seek approval, to gain validation. In the present moment, we recognize that we are enough as we are. There's no need to be anything other than what we are in this moment. And when we live in this way, we unlock our true potential. We tap into a state of being where we are fully aligned with who we are meant to be. Living with presence is not just a practice. It's a way of being. It's a reminder that the most important moment is the one you're in right now. It's an invitation to step out of the noise of your thoughts and to experience life from a place of stillness, peace, and clarity. When you embrace presence, you allow yourself to live with intention, with purpose, and with an open heart, ready to experience all that life has to offer. When we talk about the wisdom of the inner voice, we're addressing something deeply personal, yet universally powerful. Each of us carries an innate guidance system within us, an inner compass that can lead us toward truth, fulfillment, and peace. But often, this voice is drowned out by the noise of the world, by the opinions of others, the constant chatter in our minds, and the distractions of daily life. Yet, the wisdom of the inner voice is always there, waiting to be heard, if only we can quiet ourselves enough to listen. This inner voice is not something we need to search for outside of ourselves. It's already within us, present in every moment. It speaks through our intuition, our gut feelings, and our deepest knowing. We often ignore it, however, because it doesn't always align with what we think we want, or what society tells us we should want. The inner voice isn't concerned with fleeting desires or external validation. It is concerned with our highest truth, our deepest purpose, and our truest self. The problem is that we've been taught to rely on external sources for guidance. Parents, teachers, friends, the media, and to prioritize the opinions of others over our own. We've learned to value the voices of authority figures, and in doing so, we've begun to mistrust our own inner knowing. Yet, this voice inside us is more reliable, more attuned to our authentic needs than any external source could ever be. It is not influenced by the biases or judgments of others. It is pure, untainted, and always in alignment with our highest good. When you begin to listen to this inner voice, you start to notice a shift in your life. Decisions become clearer, and the path forward becomes more illuminated. You no longer feel lost in the noise of conflicting opinions. You begin to trust yourself, to trust that you know what's best for you. This trust comes from a deep recognition that your inner wisdom is always guiding you toward growth, peace, and joy. The wisdom of the inner voice often speaks in quiet, subtle ways. It's the feeling you get when something doesn't sit right with you, the sense of unease when you're in a situation that doesn't align with your true values. It's also the moment of clarity you experience when something just clicks, when you suddenly know the right course of action without any logical explanation. This voice doesn't always speak in words. Sometimes it comes in the form of feelings, images, or intuitions. It doesn't scream or demand attention. It simply whispers, urging you to pay attention, to follow its guidance. But listening to this inner voice requires stillness and patience. In a world that constantly demands our attention, it's easy to become disconnected from our own intuition. The noise of our thoughts, the distractions of technology, the pressures of modern life can drown out the voice of our soul. Yet, when we make space for quiet, when we stop and allow ourselves to simply be, we begin to hear it more clearly. Silence, then, is not just the absence of sound, but the presence of the sacred, a space in which our inner wisdom can rise to the surface and guide us. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen your connection to this inner voice is through practices of mindfulness and meditation. These practices help you quiet the mind, still the body, and open yourself to the wisdom that is always available to you. In these moments of stillness, you begin to reconnect with your true self. You become more attuned to the subtle messages that arise from within. These messages may not always be dramatic or earth-shattering, but they are always relevant. They are nudges, insights, and understandings that help you navigate life with greater clarity and purpose. When you trust the wisdom of your inner voice, you also learn to trust the timing of your life. There are times when the inner voice tells you to move forward, to take action, to step into the unknown with courage. And there are times when it asks you to pause, to reflect, and to wait. We often resist these moments of stillness, thinking that we must always be doing, achieving, and striving. But the inner voice understands that there is wisdom in waiting, in allowing things to unfold naturally, and in trusting that the right moment will come. Listening to the inner voice also requires surrender. It requires letting go of the need to control every outcome, to have all the answers right now. The inner voice doesn't always give us the entire picture. It may provide us with a sense of direction, a feeling of what's right, but it doesn't always give us the full map. This is where trust comes in, trusting that you are being guided in the right direction, even when the path isn't fully clear. The wisdom of the inner voice is like a gentle hand leading you step by step. It asks you to move forward with faith, knowing that as long as you listen and trust, you will be led to exactly where you need to be. Sometimes, the inner voice asks you to make difficult choices. It may ask you to let go of a relationship, a job, or a habit that no longer serves you. These choices are not always easy, and they may involve pain or discomfort. But the wisdom of the inner voice is always seeking to guide you toward your highest good, even if that means going through temporary discomfort or facing challenges. The inner voice is not concerned with keeping you comfortable. It is concerned with helping you grow, evolve, and become the best version of yourself. As you deepen your connection to this inner voice, you will begin to notice that the more you trust it, the stronger it becomes. The voice becomes clearer, more frequent, and more aligned with your true self. You begin to realize that you are never alone, you are always being guided by this inner wisdom, and as long as you listen, you will never go astray. Ultimately, the wisdom of the inner voice is a reminder that you are not separate from the universe. You are a part of it, and the wisdom that flows through you is the same wisdom that flows through all of life. By listening to this voice, you align yourself with the flow of life, with the natural rhythms of the universe, and with your own highest potential. It is a voice that always knows the way, and when you learn to trust it, you begin to experience life with greater ease, grace, and fulfillment. When we speak of the healing power of stillness, we are addressing a profound truth that many of us overlook in the fast-paced, constantly moving world we inhabit. Healing is often thought of as a process of medicine, treatments, or actions that are aimed at curing physical ailments. Yet, the most transformative healing occurs in the space of stillness, when we allow ourselves to simply be, without the need to force, control, or manipulate. Stillness offers us an opportunity to reconnect with our true essence, and it is from this connection that genuine healing arises. In our daily lives, we are caught in a whirlwind of activity. We are constantly doing, striving, and pushing ourselves to achieve more, to acquire more, to become more. We rarely give ourselves permission to just be, to stop, to rest, to listen. But it is in those moments of stillness that we find the most profound peace. In stillness, we step away from the incessant demands of the outside world, and we reconnect with the inner peace that exists within each of us, waiting to be acknowledged. Healing begins when we give ourselves permission to stop. It is in this stillness that we allow our bodies, our minds, and our spirits to reset, to breathe, and to realign with the natural rhythms of life. Healing is not something we can force or rush. It is a process that unfolds when we allow space for it to happen. Just as a flower needs time and space to bloom, so too do we need moments of quiet to heal and grow. The more we resist this stillness, the more we prolong our healing. In a world that is addicted to business, we often confuse activity with productivity. We believe that in order to heal, we must be constantly working on ourselves, pushing through our pain, or taking action to fix what is broken. But healing does not always come from action. Sometimes, the greatest healing occurs in the absence of doing, when we simply stop trying to change everything around us and allow ourselves to rest in the stillness. Stillness invites us to become aware of our bodies in a way that we often neglect in the rush of daily life. When we are still, we can tune into the subtle signals our body sends us. Whether it's a tension in our shoulders, a tightness in our chest, or the feeling of exhaustion in our limbs, our bodies are constantly communicating with us. But in the noise of our thoughts and activities, we often fail to listen. In stillness, we create space to hear these messages. And when we hear them, we can begin to respond with love, care, and compassion. This doesn't mean we need to engage in lengthy meditation sessions or retreats to experience the power of stillness. While those practices are beneficial, stillness can be experienced in the simplest of moments. A quiet walk in nature, a few moments of deep breathing, or simply sitting with your thoughts without judgment. These are all moments of stillness that can invite healing. The key is to allow ourselves the space to be present, without the need to fill every moment with noise or activity. The healing power of stillness is not only physical, it is also deeply emotional and spiritual. When we are still, we allow ourselves to feel what we've been avoiding, to acknowledge the emotions we've been suppressing. Too often, we distract ourselves from our feelings by staying busy or by numbing ourselves with external comforts. But emotional healing can only take place when we allow ourselves to truly feel what is within us. In the stillness, we can access the depth of our emotions, face our fears, and embrace our vulnerabilities. We learn to be with ourselves just as we are, without judgment or resistance. And in that acceptance, we find peace. Stillness also invites us to reconnect with our spirit. It is through stillness that we can hear the whispers of our soul, guiding us toward a deeper understanding of who we are and why we are here. Our soul speaks to us not in loud, forceful demands, but in the quiet moments of clarity that arise when we are still. In the midst of stillness, we gain insight into our life's purpose and the path we are meant to follow. The answers we seek, whether about relationships, work, or life decisions, are often waiting for us in the space of silence. As we cultivate stillness in our lives, we also create a fertile ground for forgiveness. Healing, especially emotional healing, often requires us to forgive, not just others, but ourselves as well. When we are constantly busy, running from task to task, we don't give ourselves the opportunity to reflect on past hurts or mistakes. But in stillness, we can process these emotions, forgive ourselves for any perceived shortcomings, and release the burdens we've been carrying. This release is incredibly healing. It frees us from the weight of guilt, shame, and regret, allowing us to step into the present moment with a sense of peace and freedom. In our efforts to heal, we often try to fix ourselves. We focus on what's wrong, what's broken, or what needs improvement. But the truth is that we are not broken. We are whole. Stillness helps us realize this truth. It helps us see that healing is not about fixing something that is wrong, but about returning to the natural state of wholeness that we were born with. We are not incomplete. We are already whole and perfect in our essence. Stillness allows us to reconnect with this truth, to remember who we truly are beneath the layers of conditioning, fear, and judgment. Finally, stillness brings us back to the present moment, where healing truly occurs. So often, we are caught in the past, replaying old memories, or we worry about the future, imagining worst-case scenarios. But the past is gone, and the future is uncertain. The only real moment is now. Healing cannot happen in the past, nor can it happen in the future. It happens in the present, in the space we create through stillness. When we are fully present with ourselves, when we stop dwelling on what has been or what might be, we open ourselves to the possibility of healing. The power of stillness is profound and transformative. It offers us the space to reconnect with our bodies, our emotions, and our spirit. It helps us release what no longer serves us, forgive what has hurt us, and step into the present moment with peace. It is in the stillness that we remember our wholeness and reconnect with the deep wisdom within us. And it is in that space that healing happens, naturally, effortlessly, and profoundly. When we speak of the connection to the divine, we are talking about something deeply profound, yet so often overlooked in the busy lives we lead. It is the recognition that we are not separate from the universe, but an integral part of it. This connection is not something that can be seen with the eyes, nor touched with the hands, but it is felt deeply in the heart and soul. It is the awareness that the same life force that flows through the trees, the stars, the oceans, and all living things also flows through us. It is a recognition that the divine is not something external to us, but something within us, something that is always present, waiting for us to acknowledge it. This connection to the divine is not reserved for moments of prayer or worship, nor is it confined to religious rituals. It is not a concept bound by doctrine or belief systems. It is an experience that transcends religious boundaries and philosophical ideologies. It is the recognition that, at our core, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. The divine is present in every moment, in every breath, in every thought and action. When we live in alignment with this truth, our lives take on a new depth, a new meaning. We begin to understand that we are not alone in our struggles, nor are we disconnected from the world around us. The divine is always with us, guiding us, supporting us, and helping us navigate the challenges of life. This connection to the divine is not something that needs to be sought outside of ourselves. It is already within us, waiting for us to recognize it. The truth is that the divine is always speaking to us, through the whispers of our heart, through the quiet moments of reflection, through the synchronicities and coincidences that show up in our lives. It speaks through the gentle nudges we feel when we are about to make a decision, through the sense of peace that washes over us when we are in the right place at the right time. The more we tune into this inner guidance, the more we begin to see the divine in all things. The challenge, however, is that we often become so focused on the external world, on the noise and distractions of our daily lives, that we fail to hear the still, small voice of the divine within us. We are often caught up in the business of life, in the pursuit of success, wealth, and approval from others, that we forget to pause and listen to the deeper call of our soul. We forget that we are spiritual beings at our core, and that our true fulfillment lies not in material possessions or external validation, but in our connection to the divine. To reconnect with the divine, we must first learn to quiet the mind and open our hearts. This is not something that happens automatically. In a world that is constantly demanding our attention, it takes effort to turn inward, to create space for stillness, and to listen for the whispers of the divine. But when we make the effort, when we take the time to sit in silence, to meditate, or simply to reflect, we begin to reconnect with the truth of who we are. We begin to experience the peace, the love, and the wisdom that comes from being in tune with the divine. This connection is not about having all the answers or understanding everything. It is not about control or manipulation. The divine is not something we can fully comprehend with our minds. It is beyond logic and reason. It is a mystery, a force that transcends our understanding. But it is also a presence, a force that we can feel, that we can experience in our lives if we are open to it. The more we cultivate this connection, the more we begin to trust the flow of life, to trust that we are exactly where we need to be at this moment. We begin to let go of the need to control every outcome, and we allow ourselves to surrender to the wisdom of the divine. The divine is also present in the relationships we have with others. When we connect with another person from a place of love, empathy, and understanding, we are connecting with the divine within them and within ourselves. Our relationships become a reflection of our spiritual connection to the universe. Every encounter, every exchange, becomes an opportunity to experience the divine. Whether we are speaking to a loved one, a stranger, or even someone we disagree with, we are given the chance to see the divine in them and in ourselves. This shift in perspective transforms our relationships, bringing them to a new level of depth and meaning. Moreover, the connection to the divine helps us to see the sacredness in all of life. It is easy to become disconnected from the beauty and wonder of the world when we are caught up in the demands of our daily lives. We may overlook the miracles that surround us every day: the sun rising over the horizon, the laughter of a child, the stillness of the night. But when we reconnect with the divine, we begin to see the sacredness in everything. We recognize that every moment is an opportunity to experience the presence of the divine. We begin to live with a sense of awe and gratitude, knowing that life itself is a miracle, and that we are a part of this great, interconnected web of existence. The connection to the divine also provides us with strength and resilience in times of hardship. Life is full of challenges, and we will all face difficult moments. But when we are connected to the divine, we are not alone in these moments. We are supported by a force that is greater than ourselves, a force that is always available to us, even in the darkest of times. This connection gives us the courage to face adversity, to trust that everything we are going through is part of our growth and evolution. When we lean into this connection, we tap into a source of strength and wisdom that helps us navigate even the most challenging circumstances. Ultimately, our connection to the divine is what gives our lives meaning and purpose. It is the foundation upon which everything else is built. When we are in tune with the divine, we begin to understand that our lives are not random or meaningless. We have a purpose, a reason for being here, and the divine is always guiding us toward that purpose. This connection helps us to make decisions that are in alignment with our true selves, and it empowers us to live authentically and with intention. The divine is not something separate from us. It is within us, around us, and flowing through us. When we recognize this, when we connect with the divine in every moment, our lives are transformed. We begin to live with a sense of peace, love, and purpose. We no longer feel disconnected or alone. We are part of something much greater, a vast, interconnected web of life that is sacred, beautiful, and full of possibility. And in that recognition, we find the true meaning of life. When we speak of the clarity of purpose, we are referring to something that transcends ambition, career goals, or societal expectations. True clarity of purpose is not about finding a particular job or achieving a specific milestone. It is about understanding why we are here, what we are meant to contribute, and how we can align ourselves with the deeper currents of life. Purpose is the inner knowing that we are part of something much larger than ourselves, and it is the driving force behind everything we do. The challenge, however, is that many of us wander through life, unsure of our true purpose. We live with a sense of disconnection, a feeling that something is missing, and often seek fulfillment in external accomplishments or possessions. Society often teaches us that purpose is something we must chase after, that it is something to be achieved or earned. But purpose is not something external, it is something that resides deep within us, waiting to be discovered. When we listen closely, when we quiet the mind and connect with our inner selves, we begin to see that our purpose is already present, guiding us every step of the way. The first step toward clarity of purpose is to recognize that you are not here by accident. Your life has meaning. You have been brought into this world with unique gifts, experiences, and perspectives that only you can share. These are the clues to your purpose. Your purpose is not something that can be defined by others. It is something that only you can discover, and it is always aligned with the highest good of yourself and others. The world needs your unique contribution, and your purpose is the key to unlocking it. But to access that clarity, we must be willing to slow down and truly listen. In the rush of daily life, it's easy to ignore the subtle nudges and insights that are constantly guiding us. The voice of purpose is not loud or demanding. It is quiet, gentle, and persistent. It speaks to us through our passions, our talents, our desires, and our intuition. It may come in the form of a sudden insight or an idea that we can't shake. It may show up as a sense of peace or fulfillment when we engage in certain activities. Purpose is felt, not thought about. The more we tune into this inner voice, the clearer our purpose becomes. We begin to notice the things that bring us joy, the activities that feel aligned with who we are, and the ways we can make a positive impact in the world. These are the breadcrumbs that lead us toward our purpose. They are the quiet but powerful indicators that tell us where to go, what to do, and how to be. But it's not always an easy path to follow. Sometimes, our purpose may seem unclear or contradictory to what we've been taught to expect from life. We may feel a calling to do something unconventional, something that doesn't fit into the typical mold of success that society promotes. It's in these moments, when we feel unsure or uncertain, that we must trust ourselves and the process of discovery. Clarity of purpose often comes after periods of questioning, introspection, and even confusion. The clarity doesn't arrive all at once. It unfolds slowly, like the petals of a flower opening up to the light. It requires patience and trust in the unknown. There will be moments when you feel lost, unsure of which direction to take, and it is in those moments that you must surrender to the flow of life, knowing that clarity will come when you are ready. Purpose is not just about achieving personal success or fulfilling one's desires. It is also about understanding the interconnectedness of all things and how your actions contribute to the greater good. True clarity of purpose comes when we realize that we are not isolated beings, but part of a vast web of life. Every action we take, no matter how small, ripples out into the world, affecting those around us and contributing to the collective energy of humanity. When we live with this awareness, our sense of purpose shifts from being self-centered to being service-oriented. We begin to ask ourselves not just, what do I want, but how can I contribute? This shift is often the key to finding true fulfillment. When we live for something larger than ourselves, when we dedicate ourselves to making a positive impact on the world, we begin to experience a deeper sense of meaning and satisfaction. The clarity of purpose also brings with it a sense of alignment. When we are aligned with our purpose, we feel a deep sense of flow, a connection to something greater that guides us through life. It's a feeling of being in the right place at the right time, of knowing that we are exactly where we need to be. We no longer feel as though we are fighting against the current of life. Instead, we feel as though we are moving with it, guided by a force greater than ourselves. This alignment brings a sense of peace and confidence, knowing that we are living authentically, that we are on the right path. One of the most important aspects of clarity of purpose is the willingness to be true to yourself. It's easy to get caught up in the expectations and desires of others, to follow a path that others have set for us, or to chase after goals that don't truly resonate with who we are. But when we live according to the expectations of others, we disconnect from our true selves. The only way to experience true fulfillment is to honor our own unique path, to listen to our own heart, and to live according to our own values and beliefs. This is where clarity of purpose begins. By honoring your own truth, by making choices that align with who you truly are, not who others expect you to be. The clarity of purpose is also something that evolves over time. It is not static. As we grow and change, our purpose may shift and expand. What may have once felt like our purpose at one point in life may no longer resonate with us as we mature and evolve. This is part of the journey. Purpose is not a fixed destination, but a dynamic, living experience. It is an ongoing process of discovery, and it requires us to be open to change and growth. When we embrace this fluidity, we allow ourselves the freedom to explore new possibilities, to evolve, and to become more aligned with our true selves. In the end, clarity of purpose is not just about finding a specific role or identity. It is about living with intention, with meaning, and with a sense of deep connection to the world around us. It is the recognition that each of us is a unique expression of life, and that our presence here has a profound impact. When we live in alignment with our purpose, we experience a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that we are contributing to the greater whole in ways that only we can. The journey to clarity is one of trust, patience, and surrender. It is a journey that leads us to the truth of who we are and to the powerful role we are meant to play in the world. In our quest for a meaningful and fulfilling life, we often search for answers outside of ourselves, looking for solutions in the noise, in the rush, and in the constant striving for more. Yet, the true answers lie within, in the silence, in the stillness, and in our connection to the deeper essence of who we are. When we embrace the power of presence, we become fully immersed in the beauty of the moment, discovering that every second holds the potential for growth, peace, and transformation. By listening to the wisdom of our inner voice, we unlock the guidance that resides within us, leading us toward a life of authenticity and purpose. Through the healing power of stillness, we reconnect with our true selves, allowing space for the body, mind, and spirit to find balance and renewal. In recognizing our connection to the divine, we understand that we are not separate from the world but a vital part of it, and that each action, thought, and intention ripples out to the universe, contributing to the greater whole. And in finding clarity of purpose, we align ourselves with the deepest truth of our existence, recognizing that our unique gifts are meant to be shared with the world, and that by living with intention, we step into a life of profound meaning. As we cultivate these principles, we begin to see life not as a series of isolated events, but as a harmonious journey of self-discovery, growth, and connection. The answers we seek are not found in the future, nor are they buried in the past. They are here, in this moment, in the quiet spaces between thoughts, in the stillness of our hearts, and in the wisdom that resides within. When we learn to listen, to be present, and to trust the guidance of our inner voice, we discover a life that is full of meaning, peace, and fulfillment. And as we walk this path, we come to realize that the most profound transformations happen not through doing more, but by simply being more present, more connected, more aligned with the deepest truth of who we are. This is the essence of living a life of purpose, a life of meaning, and a life of profound fulfillment.